Hello, and thank you for joining us for tonight's meditation workshop. My name is Heather Evans. I'm the founder and motivation maven here at Journeys on the Mat, and we are just thrilled that you have joined us to learn more about meditation and the awesome impact meditation can have on your life. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about myself before we get started. I've been practicing yoga for over 8 years now. I had started out as a professional dancer in Chicago and was working full-time and dancing full-time, and found that while dance was so fulfilling in terms of the movement I was doing, I was really feeling a little lost in terms of the direction of my life. And as well, some of you may know, the dance community can be a pretty intense place to exist. And so I was seeking out an alternative place to do some movement, and I found myself on the yoga mat. And it completely transformed my life. I began practicing yoga regularly at this fantastic studio in Chicago. I had amazing teachers that showed me the power and transformation that could occur through yoga. About 3 years ago, I decided that I wanted to add to my yoga practice, and that's where meditation came in. I had stopped dancing, but I was working full-time. I was traveling across the US. I was on the road about 90% of the time, living out of suitcases, and found that I was getting a little lost in the work and not so much remaining connected to myself. And I found myself seeking out meditation as a tool that I could use to cultivate my relationship with myself. And I found myself meditating anywhere I could for 5 minutes when I boarded a plane, or 2 minutes before I went to bed at night. And I started noticing the impact it was having on myself and on my relationships. And so I chose to dig in a little deeper, and I chose to explore and cultivate this practice of meditation. And I'm passionate about meditation. I wanted to share this with you, share how meditation has transformed my life, and hopefully help you to cultivate your own personal meditation practice so that you can see the impact in your own life as well. So that's a very quick intro. I'll be sharing a little bit more about my story as we go through this, but I just wanted to share where my passion for meditation comes from and the impact that it's had on my life, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. So some of you might be asking, what is meditation, and why should I care about this? Now, for those of you who have never meditated before, or those of you who might have been kind of playing with it but not really sure what exactly to do with it, this course is going to be perfect for you. It's 5 short weeks, 1 night a week, and we'll get you on the path. But to start, what is meditation? And I personally define meditation as cultivating stillness in the mind. When we cultivate that stillness in the mind, we're much more able to connect to ourselves. We're able to connect to others. And we're able to make sense of things in our lives that might be troubling us or giving us pause. So when we meditate, cultivating stillness of the mind allows us to cultivate stillness in other areas of our lives as well, whether that be in relationships we have with others, our workplace, our family life, wherever that is. Meditation can help us cultivate that stillness that can enable us to move through life with more grace, more calm, and more purpose. So studies have shown that meditation can benefit us in a variety of ways. And while I may be coming at meditation from a very personal place of, oh my gosh, this has completely transformed my life, I also became interested in what the research was showing the impacts of meditation are. Obviously, and I think most of us know this, that meditation has been shown to increase focus and clarity. When we cultivate that stillness of the mind I was talking about a little earlier, we enable the mind to focus on one thing at a time. And this focus can help deliver clarity when we're going about our daily routines or when we're interacting with other people. As an example, I noticed that as my meditation practice developed, My need to be connected to technology constantly, even when talking to other people, began to diminish. So how many of us, and I know there are a number of us who do this, but we'll be in a conversation with somebody, or we'll be out to dinner with somebody, and we're constantly checking our phone, we're looking at the email, we're getting dings or buzzes that are letting us know that something else needs our attention. What meditation can help us do, and this is just one example of how it can develop focus and clarity, but it allows you and helps you understand that whatever's right in front of you is what we should be paying attention to. So when we're out to dinner with that other person, or we're doing different things in our lives, we have the ability to really hone in and pay attention to the people and things that need our attention in that moment. And things like technology, especially during dinner out with a loved one or time with our family, we aren't being distracted by these other things. So it can help develop this sense of clarity and purpose. The second benefit that it's been shown to cultivate is really a sense of calm. And when I say calm, I'm not just talking about mental calm. I'm also talking about breath calm, and I'm talking about body calm. So mental calm is when we take a look at situations that are around us and how they affect us. And we're much more able, through our meditation practice and through a consistent meditation practice, to look at those situations objectively and not allow them to immediately create an emotional response that may or may not be appropriate in that moment. So it allows us to maintain a slight distance from those things that are occurring in our lives, where we can just kind of sit back and take a moment and say, okay, I'm going to center myself. I'm going to take a 15-second meditation here, and then I'll be ready to respond. A great example of this is tonight when I was prepping for our workshop. I had some technology issues, and I'm not going to lie to you. I was a little nervous that I would either have to postpone or cancel, or that things wouldn't work out in time for me to be able to deliver this workshop. And I just needed to take a moment, right? Take a 15-second meditation and say to myself, okay, let me distance myself from how I'm feeling about what's happening. Let me center myself, find the calm, which enabled me to then take the next step. Okay, what do I need to do in order to resolve this technology issue so that I can actually come online tonight and deliver this workshop? So that's the mind calm. With breath calm, and we're going to be working through this tonight as we focus on 3-part breath, but breath and meditation are interwoven. They are really connected, and we're going to be talking about that. But when we can calm the breath, calming the breath has an automatic calming effect on the entire nervous system. When we can calm the breath and get connected to the breath, our entire system, our fight or flight, everything that goes into how we react very quickly to things, slows down. And again, it enables us to look at things with just a little bit of distance, just enough of a distance to be able to say, okay, let me take a breath. How many times do you say that? I need to take a breath. That can be your 3-second meditation. And now let me deal with what's in front of me. So again, that helps us come back to that focus and to that clarity. So by calming the mind, calming the breath, it enables that focus and clarity. The third piece that I talked about was calming the body. So when we have a calm mind and we've calmed our breath, it enables us, our entire body has the ability to respond in appropriate ways. So our nervous system slows down, we have our heart rate slows down, right? And our body becomes much more relaxed. And relaxed body is an essential component of being able to meditate. And so when we have that calm mind, calm breath, and calm body, it enables us to walk into relationships, walk into situations, walk into work, walk into technology snafus, and be able to handle them in a much more calm manner. So calm begets calm in this case, and that's really what we're looking for. All of that ties into one of the third benefits of meditation, which is the ability to manage emotions. And when we're able to meditate and cultivate stillness of the mind and calmness of the mind, body, and breath, we're much more able to look at things from a different perspective. And we're able to respond in a way that isn't necessarily motivated primarily by our emotional response. We're able to step back, look at things a bit more objectively and say, okay, how do I need to respond? What is the most appropriate thing to do in this moment? So when we have increased focus and clarity, calmness of body, breath, and mind, and we're able to manage our emotions in more appropriate ways, let's say, at the end of the day, all of this leads to creating inner awareness that connects our body and mind. I was reading an article earlier this week, and it was talking about how we spend a good deal of our time navigating and negotiating and researching our external world. So we will read about other people, we will study history, we will look at all of these things and examine them in depth in our outside world. But how often do we take the time to actually examine what's happening internally? And that is one of the things that I think all of this leads to, and that I find most amazing about meditation, is that it allows our inner space to be just as fascinating as our outer space. So our inner world becomes a place of discovery. It becomes a place of notice. It becomes a place of intention and attention. And when we can give this inner space the intention and attention it needs, we're able to go about our daily lives in a much more connected and whole way, where we're bringing our entire selves, inner and outer selves, to the table. And that for me has been truly transformational. When I first stepped on the mat and began cultivating my meditation practice, I was really confused about what exactly it was I was supposed to be doing. I didn't quite grasp this concept of inner and outer Heather. I didn't grasp that my inner space needed just as much attention as all of the outward facing things that were going on in my life. And so I needed to take the time to explore and understand what meditation really meant and what it meant for me. And my definition of meditation works for me. And it might not necessarily work for you, but that's what this 5-week workshop journey is all about. It's about looking at meditation from a broad scope, dabbling a little in different ways that we can utilize meditation in our lives, and then having you put that into practice and exploring for yourself, what does meditation mean for me? So again, when I first started meditating, I wasn't really sure what to do. I wasn't sure how to meditate. I had heard some things about meditation. I had maybe done it 1 or 2 times, but the myths around meditation were what were bubbling to the surface. And I just wanted to take some time tonight to debunk some of those myths that we might be hearing about meditation, and that might be preventing us from maybe digging a little deeper into our meditation practice. So the first myth that I want to address is I have to sit on the floor in a cross-legged position and I need to stay there for the duration of my meditation. You don't need to sit cross-legged on the floor to meditate. I think that is one of the most prevalent myths out there about meditation, and I want to debunk it for you right here, right now. Not necessary to sit cross-legged on the floor in order to meditate. You can meditate in any position that works for you and for your body. The most important thing is that you're relaxed when you go into meditation. Now, I think a lot of times when we see the images of meditating that are out there, in fact, I even have an image of myself meditating and I'm sitting in a cross-legged position. But when we look at these images, it can cultivate this idea of what meditation is supposed to look like. You know, we're supposed to be sitting on a beach, all dressed in white, with the ocean out in front of us, a palm tree off in the distance, our hands in a specific position, right? This position, our hands in a specific position. And that is meditation. And if you're doing that, then you're meditating, and of course it should work for you. Not true. Pick the position that works for you. A lot of people like to lie down when they meditate. Some people like to sit upright in a chair or on their couch. I have a friend of mine, he would meditate on the bus going into work every morning when I was living in Chicago. So he found his own way of meditating amidst the chaos of the city that was swirling around him. So myth number one, you don't need to sit down on the floor in a cross-legged position to meditate. So meditate in a position that makes you feel most comfortable. The second myth that I want to debunk is this idea that you must meditate for an hour or more, otherwise you aren't really meditating. Not true. A study was recently done where they compared people who would meditate for only a few moments at a time or a few minutes at a time versus those who had a full meditation practice where they would sit for hours and meditate on a variety of things. The research showed that even those who meditated for a few moments at a time still saw positive effects from their meditation practice. So even if you take that minute just to focus on your breath, that could be your meditation. So don't think that you need to sit or lie or stand for an hour at a time, or sit on a bus for an hour at a time when you meditate. It's not necessary. Meditation can be anything from a minute to all day to several days. You're going to pick the time that works best for you right now. That time may expand on some days. It might be shorter on others. For my own personal meditation practice, there are days where I can sit for an hour or more, and that's how I'm feeling that day, and it feels amazing to do that. There are other days where 5 minutes is what my meditation looks like. So you're going to pick the time that works best for you. And once you start cultivating your meditation practice, your body, your breath, and your mind will tell you exactly how long you're supposed to meditate on any given day. So trust yourself. And that's what developing this meditation practice is all about. The third myth that I wanted to debunk that I know is out there is this idea that you need to chant in Sanskrit while you meditate, or you have to chant in another language to meditate. Again, not true. Chanting is not inextricably tied to meditation. Now, we will be talking about mantras next week when we get together on Tuesday night. But for the most part, chanting is not required. It can enhance your meditation practice, but it is not required. So if you've been holding back from cultivating a meditation practice because you're not sure about the chanting, or you're not sure what to chant, or if chanting is even necessary, don't worry about it. Chanting is not necessary in order to meditate. And again, we'll be exploring mantras and chanting next week, but not required to cultivate your meditation practice. The fourth myth that I wanted to debunk is that your mind cannot wander when you meditate, or that you're supposed to have a completely empty mind when you meditate, that your mind is supposed to go blank. Again, not true. The mind is a powerful tool that we have in our lives to discern things, work through things, remember things that we're supposed to be doing. And when we talk about cultivating stillness in the mind, what we're really talking about is cultivating the ability to focus on one thing at a time. And so it's not that your mind is completely blank. It's not that other things aren't going to filter in while you're in your meditation practice. It just means, can we focus the mind on one thing? And if other things do pop up, or if we find ourselves getting distracted by other things, have we cultivated the practice enough so that we can then bring our mind back to that one thing? Can we refocus the mind, refocus the energy, refocus the breath, so that we can focus on one thing when we step out of our meditation practice, so that we can be fully present in the moment? So this idea that I can't think about my grocery shopping list, or I can't think about what I'm supposed to make for dinner tonight, or, oh yeah, I forgot to do this. It's okay if those thoughts come into your mind at any given time during your meditation practice. It's just, can we then acknowledge that the thought came up and then let it go and then refocus on our mind on what's in front of us? So again, just to recap, our debunked myths now. No need to sit cross-legged on the floor. Pick a position that's comfortable for you. You don't need to meditate for an hour or more to feel the positive impacts of meditation. A minute may be all you need on any given day. You don't need to chant in order to meditate. It can enhance the practice, but it isn't necessary in order to get your meditation practice going. And fourth, that your mind can't wander. A wandering mind is part of being human. And so be human in your meditation practice. Part of meditation is about learning about our humanness. So your mind can wander. It's just, can we refocus it back when we notice that it's starting to do that? So again, I wanted to debunk some myths because, again, meditation can be incredibly powerful. And if any of these myths has been preventing you from exploring a meditation practice or seeing what a meditation practice can do for you, I encourage you to set those aside. And we're going to get into what we can do to work through some of these myths and see if we can't cultivate a meditation practice that works for you and your life. So to get started, I wanted to take that last point about the mind not wandering, because that seems to be the primary concern for people, especially when they're first beginning a meditation practice. One of the ways in which we can focus the mind when we're meditating is through our breath. And there's a tool that we can use that's called 3-part breath. And it's something that we utilize in yoga asana practice, but it can also be utilized in our meditation practice. And 3-part breath really just allows us to bring some attention and intention to our breath. And our 3-part breath really involves 3 parts. So one thing that I would say is, if at any point when you're doing any breathing exercise, if you feel stressed or confused, or this is really hard, or I'm just feeling like this isn't right for me, you can stop at any time. You aren't required to breathe in any certain way at any point during a yoga or a meditation practice. So I just want to put that out there. It's really what's going to make your body comfortable. So a 3-part breath, and I'll just talk you through it and then maybe we'll practice it together. But a 3-part breath is where you inhale and you allow your belly to become really round and soft. So in our culture, particularly Western culture, the belly tends to be very held, in, and we have this concept that a flat belly is necessary for looking good or for having an ideal body type. This is where we get to let that go. And the analogy that I like to use is, if you look at babies when they're lying on their back and they're breathing, and if you haven't seen a baby when they're lying on their back and they're breathing, especially when they're sleeping, hook up with a friend who has a baby and maybe check it out. But if you watch babies breathe, especially when they're sleeping, their bellies expand, it gets big, and then it collapses down. And it's really a sign that their whole body is completely relaxed. They are amazing, what we call belly breathers. And so when we do our 3-part breath, we start by breathing into our belly and allowing our bellies to get really soft and expand with the breath. And so by having that visual of a baby, it helped me when I was learning 3-part breath to really think about, okay, this is how much I need to soften, and noticing how much I was holding and being very aware of the tension that I hold around my belly. So first part of belly breathing, or 3-part breath, is belly breathing. So it's inhaling deeply through the nose and allowing the belly to fully soften and expand. When you exhale, feeling that exhale come from your belly as well. So to start this, let's give it a go. We're going to place our right hand on our belly. I don't know if you can see it, but right hand on your belly. And you can close your eyes if you want to during this practice. But when you inhale through your nose, and we really want to slow down the breath here. When you inhale through your nose, just allow your belly to expand and get super round and soft, and just see what that feels like. And notice if it feels uncomfortable. Notice if it feels really good. Think about maybe if you can remember the last time that you allowed your belly to get this round and soft. And my belly can get really round and soft at this point. So I say go for it. Just get as soft and as round and as inflated as you possibly can, like a big balloon. So consider this a present to yourself that comes with a big balloon. And that balloon is your belly. All right, so let's take a deep exhale together. Now let's inhale together through our nose. Allowing that belly to get really big and expand. And then as you exhale, exhaling through your belly as well. Inhaling, allow your belly to get full. Exhaling. Feeling your belly come back toward your spine. Do that a couple more times. Oh yeah, those breaths are just so juicy and full, and I just love feeling my torso expand like that because it so rarely gets to do that during the day. So that's part one of three-part breath, breathing into the belly, that belly breath. The second part of three-part breath has to do with feeling your ribs expand out and up. So we started, and I'll stand up here, that way you can see. So we started with the belly. Now we're going to move up onto either side of our ribs. So let me see if I can get down just a little bit more here. So we initially started here. Oh yeah, look at that belly. Exhale. The second part is placing both of your hands on either side of your ribs, on your low ribs, and then inhaling and bringing the attention to allowing that rib cage to expand out. And I'll show you what I mean. So inhaling. Exhaling. Inhaling. And exhaling. So you can see just how much my hands are expanding out and then in. And there's a slight up and down movement that happens too. So for this round, we're just going to focus our attention and intention on breathing into that low rib cage area. So if you like, you can put your hands on your low ribs, just as I had showed you. And then we're going to take a deep inhale through our nose and exhaling through our nose, allowing our ribs to fully expand and then collapse back in toward one another gently. So when you're ready, taking an exhale and then inhale. Feeling your ribs expand and exhale. Feeling them move in toward one another. Inhale and exhale. So that's part two of three-part breath, excuse me. So we've done belly breath, and now we've done low rib breath. The third part of three-part breath really has to do with breathing into your upper chest. And one thing I'll say about breathing into the upper chest is that for most of us, especially if we're in stressful situations or if we're going about our day and we're feeling really anxious a lot of the time, we will oftentimes breathe just into the upper chest. So our breath is shallow, it might be really quick, and we might not be utilizing all of this space, the belly and low ribs, and then upper chest to really focus and clarify the breath. So the last part, the final part of three-part breath, is really breathing into this upper chest area. And one way that I like to do this is by placing my hand just above where my heart is, so really close to the collarbones here. And with this movement, you're going to notice that it tends to rise and lower. There's slight expansion that occurs here, but the majority of the time it's an up and down movement that people notice. So what we're going to do is we're going to, once again, and I'll just show you and then we'll practice it together, but you'll inhale into your upper chest and exhale. Inhaling into your upper chest and exhaling. It's always really nice to smile, and I always feel a smile come over my over my face when I have my hand here. That's our heart center. It's our place of love. So breathe into your place of love for this final part of the 3-part breath. But if you're ready, we'll do this together. So exhaling, and then inhale into your upper chest. Exhaling. Inhaling into your upper chest. And exhaling. Really nice. So we have 2 things at play here. One is we're focusing where the breath goes, where it enters and exits the body. So whether that's the belly, the low ribs, or the upper chest. The other thing that we did, and I didn't talk about this, but we slowed the breath down. So we're being very intentional about the length of our inhale and the length of our exhale. And when we're thinking about the lengths of our inhales and exhales, we want to make sure that they're even. So for purposes of 3-part breath, we won't play with right now, even though you can later, something for you to explore. We don't want to play with right now a shorter inhale and a longer exhale, or a longer inhale and a shorter exhale. So for right now, we just want to keep the count really even. And I like to use, and I do use, a 4-count breath when I'm doing my 3-part breath. So in order to combine all 3, so we're thinking about intention, where we're putting the breath, how it's entering and exiting the body, and the length of the breath, we're going to put all 3 parts together. So inhaling, low belly, low ribs, upper chest, and then exhaling, upper chest, low ribs, and then belly. So it's almost like we step up, we're filling ourselves up with prana, this life force, and then we're exhaling it all out. So again, inhaling, low belly, low ribs, upper chest, exhaling, upper chest, low ribs, and then low belly. So let's give that a go. You can place your hands wherever you like if there's a particular area that you found more challenging. So if it was really hard for you to soften your belly, maybe that's where you want to put your hands. If it was a bit more challenging to feel the rib expansion, maybe that's where you place your intention, or you can place your hand right here on your heart. So when you're ready, we'll just take an exhale together. And then we'll inhale, low belly, low ribs, upper chest. And then exhaling, upper chest, low ribs, and belly. Let's do that again. Inhaling. And exhaling. One more time, inhaling. And exhaling. So this is one technique we can do with the breath to focus our mind. One of the ways that I utilize this breath in focusing my mind is I'll pay attention to how the breath is entering and exiting my nose as I breathe into my low belly, low ribs, and upper chest. And then as I exhale, upper chest, low ribs, low belly. So there are different ways that you can play with the focus and attention. Other ways are you can bring focus to the very tip of your nose as you inhale and exhale and just feel the quality of the air as you inhale and exhale. You can also bring attention to one of those areas, to your belly, to your low ribs, to your chest. So a lot of different ways that you can play with the breath in terms of where you're putting your focus and where you're putting your intention. Which brings me to putting that into play with your meditation practice. If you have a place to focus your mind and put your intention and attention, that's hitting on to that We want to bring our focus back to one thing. So sometimes when I'm meditating, my mind will start to wander. And when I notice that it's wandered, I'll notice that I've lost my breath and I've lost the focus and attention. And so then by bringing it back to the breath, I can refocus the mind, bring some stillness back to the mind. It calms my nervous system and it calms my body. So I've achieved that trifecta of calm mind, calm breath, and calm body, just by bringing my focus and my attention back to what I'm doing with my breath. So the breath is an incredibly, incredibly powerful tool to utilize when we're cultivating our meditation practice. So let's talk about our meditation practice for just a moment. As I've mentioned, there's no set time that you need to meditate for. If 5 minutes works for you one day, and 10 minutes works for you the next, and 2 minutes works for you the day after that, perfectly okay. For me, the most important thing when we look at cultivating a meditation practice is that we look at what's coming up for us and how that's impacting our lives. So when I meditate, different things might pop into my head at various times. You know, today I was meditating and a lot of what was coming up for me was a fear about this presentation. You know, would people like it? Would people like me? And I could feel myself getting a bit more anxious, and I was noticing my responses to what thoughts were coming into my head. And when I brought myself back to my breath and focused solely on that, all of those other things that I was feeling kind of melted away into the background. They weren't at the forefront of my mind. So I also know that through the cultivation of my meditation practice, that bringing my attention back to my breath and having a calm mind, calm breath, and calm body can help me come into a situation in a much more prepared and better way. So like I mentioned, when I had the technology issue and I was really, really starting to get nervous about this presentation, I was able to breathe and I was able to meditate. And that helped center myself. It helped me feel more grounded and I felt much calmer. And when we're calmer, we're just able to deal with life better. It's just the way it is. I can tell you from experience, it's so much better than walking around feeling stressed out and overreacting to everything that we see. Because I've been there and I've done that, and I'm sure some of us have felt that way in the past. And so please know that when I'm sharing meditation with you, it's because I've seen what it can do, and it's been so wonderful in my own life. So we're actually going to go ahead and do a short meditation practice tonight. So for those of you, if this is your first time, welcome to the Meditation Club. I hope you like it here. For those of you who have been meditating for a while, I encourage you to, if you want to explore the 3-part breath, which is what we'll be using in our meditation tonight, fantastic. If you have another method that you like to use, obviously, by all means, this is your meditation time. So I'll just invite you now to find a comfortable space for yourself. If you want to lie down on the floor, feel free to do that. If you are lying down on the floor, I just encourage you, don't put anything underneath your head, as we don't want to create any strain on the neck. If you'd like, you can sit on the floor, you can sit in a chair, you can sit on your couch. Pick a position that will allow you to be the most comfortable in your body that you possibly can be, because a comfortable and relaxed body is really key to meditating. So I'll let you take a moment to do that. I'm going to make myself comfortable as well, because I'm pretty excited to meditate with all of you. And so the next thing I would encourage you to do is just pick a position for your hands and your arms where you don't feel like you're holding your shoulders, you don't feel like you're hunching over, but pick a position for your hands and your arms that will allow you to sit up tall, or if you're lying down, to really feel your spine lengthening along the floor. So if you're lying down, just feeling that length along the entirety of your back. So you want to feel a long line from your pelvis all the way through the crown of your head. So all the way through the top. So if you're feeling like one side is maybe a little bit, hiked up on one side and you're laying down, just see if you can't adjust yourself so that everything is feeling nice, long, and even. You might want to pick up each leg individually and just place them back down on the floor. You might want to do the same thing for your hands. And if you're lying down, a couple options for your hands. You can have them out to your sides with palms facing up, which is a very receiving way to lie. You can place your left hand on your heart and your right hand on your belly if that feels more comfortable to you, but just choose a position. You might want to put both hands on your belly. That way, as we work through 3-part breath, you're really feeling that sensation of your belly expanding and then deflating. It's really nice if you're on your back to kind of play with that, because it goes back to that image of the baby that I was talking about before. If you're seated, either sitting on the floor or sitting in a chair, I'm sitting in a chair tonight, pick a position for your arms and your hands, like I was saying, that just allow your spine to lengthen and really feel your pelvic floor grounding down into the earth. And when you do that, you might feel a slight lengthening up through the crown of your head. So just feeling that extension through the crown of the head. Your shoulders are dropped away from your ears, so we're just creating a long, lean line. Now, that being said, I don't want you to feel like you have to be ramrod straight, like you're on parade, because you're not. You're meditating, right? So feeling that length, but also feeling really relaxed in that length. So if something is really uncomfortable for you, you might want to shift. You might want to find a different position. Maybe you try lying down, but finding a space that allows you to be long but relaxed. So we're not muscling the length, if that makes sense. We're not going to muscle the length here. We're just going to relax into the length. So once you're there, you have a couple of options. You can close your eyes. You can keep them open, or you can just look gently down at a spot in front of you on the floor. If you're lying down, you can always look up at a particular point on the ceiling. If that works for you, you can also close your eyes. I'd advise you not to be looking down towards your toes, because when you're lying down, that can create a little bit of strain in the face. One of the other things that I want you to notice as you're setting yourself up for your meditation is there tension right here in between your eyes? That has been another added benefit of my meditation practice. I used to walk around with my brow furrowed a lot, and my dad always used to come by with his thumb and kind of try to relax my forehead. And now that I've been meditating, I have a lot more awareness of this space right in between my eyes. So just make sure that that space is relaxed. You can raise your eyebrows, let them come down, do a little bit of eyebrow exercises just to bring your attention to that space. Another area of tension that we want to avoid is in the jaw. So one way to do that is just to, just place your fingertips on the jawbone. So where your jaw connects right here, and just give it a little massage. Yeah. And just allow your lower jaw to hang open from your upper jaw. Maybe even notice if your tongue is sticking to the roof of your mouth or if it's resting comfortably in the bottom of your mouth. But again, just bringing some attention there, and then just allowing your hands to come down. So we aren't clenching our jaw. Yeah, we're just allowing it to be soft and relaxed. So we've grown long. Our shoulders are away from our ears. We're feeling relaxed in our length. No tension in between the eyes, right? And a relaxed jaw. So really good things to think about when we're meditating. Last but not least, in order to cultivate good meditation posture, especially for those of us who are sitting, draw your chin back slightly, just so that your ears are in line with your shoulders. And that's a great tip that I got from an awesome yoga instructor. Her name is Robin Cunningham at the Yoga Loft in Moose Jaw. She taught me that little trick, and it was just to draw that chin back ever so slightly. And it's incredible what that does. A lot of us, because we sit at desks all the time, we sit there with our chin jutting forward, and just to bring that jaw back can be really helpful. So now that we're seated or lying down and we're feeling really comfortable, I'm just going to invite you to close your eyes or focus on a spot down in front of you. And in this moment, I just want you to thank yourself for taking the time to meditate and be here tonight. And now I just want you to notice your breath. You don't need to change anything about it in this moment. Just notice how you're breathing. Are you breathing through your mouth or through your nose? Is your breath fast or slow? Are you breathing into a particular area of your body? And again, no need to change any of that right now. It's just bringing awareness to where your body and breath are in this moment. And it's beginning to cultivate that focus we had talked about. So just taking time here, just noticing, again, not changing anything, just noticing where you are right now. And if in this noticing where you are right now, you notice that a little bit of tension has creeped in, or you're feeling uncomfortable with either lying down or sitting, you can always change your position. No need to stay where you're uncomfortable. So taking this moment just to find out what's going to work best for your body in this moment. Once you've done that, I'm going to invite you to start your 3-part breath. So taking an exhale, and whenever you're ready on your inhale, inhaling low belly, low ribs, and upper chest. Pausing for a moment and exhaling upper chest, low ribs, and low belly. Doing that again, inhaling low belly, low ribs, upper chest, and exhaling upper chest, low ribs, low belly. And I'll allow you to continue that on your own time. And if you're finding it hard to keep your inhales and exhales even, I invite you to add a count to your breath. So inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, exhaling 1, 2, 3, 4. And if a 4 count doesn't work, use a 3 count or a 2 count, whatever feels okay to you. And just really focusing your attention and intention on that 3-part breath. And as your breath slows, and as you continue to bring your focus to your breath, just noticing any changes that you're beginning to feel in your body. Maybe tuning into that space in between your eyes, making sure that it's remained relaxed, tuning into your jaw as tension crept back in. And then as you've noticed your body and where it is now, continuing that 3-part breath, and maybe even slowing it down just a little bit more. So bringing full attention and intention to your 3-part breath. Noticing how your body is feeling now. Not passing judgment, not questioning, not changing anything, but just noticing, just bringing awareness to that breath and body and mind connection. 3-part breath can help cultivate a calm mind, and it can help spur a calm body. And so when we marry this breath into our meditation practice, as we're meditating right now, it can have a profound impact on the impact of our meditation. So breath impacting the impact. So inhaling again, 3-part breath, low belly, low ribs, upper chest. And exhaling our upper chest, low ribs, and low belly. Take 4 more deep breaths just like this. And then I'll ask you to come back to your regular breath. Once you've finished your last breath, if you have your eyes closed, gently blinking them open, allowing your breath to return back to its natural state, and just noticing how you're feeling in this moment. For some of you, you might be thinking, wow, I've never experienced anything like that. For some of you, it might have been challenging. But either way, you are experiencing something in this moment. So just taking a moment to acknowledge, how does my body feel? How does my mind feel? What is my breath doing? My breath, even now from when I started this workshop, has slowed significantly. I've become much calmer as I participated in that short meditation. So that is a breath-centered meditation. You can utilize that meditation wherever you are. It's great. I used to use it at work all the time. When I was in a meeting or if I was sitting at my desk, I would just take these breaths and would just allow the breath to enter and exit my body and just be really intentional about using a 3-part breath. And it was incredible. The energy it brought to me, the sense of calm, the focus it brought to me so that I could then pay attention to what was in front of me in that moment and move on to the next thing. I was able to participate more fully in things that were required with me. Things like my relationship with my family members. When I take that moment to really center and ground myself and get that connection of mind, breath, and body, it was incredible the changes I was seeing in those spaces. So with that, we're going to end tonight's practice. I just wanted to share a quote with you that I came across, and I'm going to read it because I don't have it memorized yet, but I thought that it was perfect for this evening, and so I did want to share it with you. Meditation is meditation. Its first and foremost effect is to help us reclaim a mind that is clear, calm, and tranquil. It is only with such a mind that we can see a reflection of the truth, both within us and outside of us. Brings us right back to where we started. Meditation is about cultivating stillness of the mind so that we can do that inner space work, which translates to our work in outer space, in our relationships, in our workplaces, with family and friends. So think about the impact that you want your meditation practice to have. I've set up a Facebook comment page, and I'll be posting this video, this workshop, along with a link to the Facebook comment page on YouTube. So you'll be able to watch this again and practice along. I'd love to hear what you think, so please share your comments. I know that this is just the start, and we'll be coming together again next Tuesday. So next Tuesday, we're actually going to be talking about those mantras, that chanting we talked about tonight at the beginning. We'll see and examine how they can enhance our meditation practice. We'll also be talking about hand positions and how our hand positions can also bring a different energy to our meditation practice. So a lot of juicy information coming up for you in our second workshop. In the third week, we're actually going to be doing some work with our chakras, so our energy body and meditation, and looking at how by focusing our mind on our chakras, we can invite a different intention to our meditation and a different type of focus. In the fourth week, we're going to be talking about what it means to experience a guided versus an unguided meditation. So I'll be clarifying the differences between those two things. And we'll also be walking through a metta meditation, which metta meditations are beautiful things. It's all about love and sharing love with one another and putting out positive energy for both yourself and for other people. It's one of my favorite meditations to do. And then in our fifth week together, we'll be doing a Q&A. I'll be asking you to share your experiences with meditation. So until next Tuesday night at 8 o'clock Central, I just invite you to play with this 3-part breath in your daily life. Play with a 3-part breath meditation. See what a difference it makes. And I wish you happy meditating. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Peace. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thanks from all of us here at Journeys on the Mat. See you next time.